This is a round 3 Crazy House World Championship match in the winners bracket between xuanet and Soham0705. So these players need to win this match and 2 more matches to guarantee themselves a place in the candidates. They could also make their way into the candidates through the elimination bracket. So there'll be 8 from the top half, but another 4 from the elimination bracket. And we're seeing some very creative openings. So xuanet grabs the center. I wonder if chasing away the knight was better than exchanging it, giving black the piece in hand. So a rather curious opening. The queen gets attacked. What does it do? It stops the king from castling. And the knight's trying to threaten knight takes c2 with a huge fork. The other knight is coming into the attack. xuanet going for the queen, trapping the queen. Well, and I guess he didn't want to go queen takes bishop because knight here and queen here is mating, because you go queen here check and it's a smothered mate at the end of it. So he wins the queen. He gives away a piece for a pawn just to get into g7, and now it's Soham thinking. And this queen, beautiful queen up, xuanet is, but it's a little bit out of play. That's the only problem. But he's got another queen in hand, so that's okay. It's okay as long as knight takes pawn isn't an issue, because of course you can't take back ever. So these are some of the things. This is a check, so there was no worry there. He was threatening mate in 1 here as well. So this is interesting. Knight here check, takes. You have to be careful. Is knight takes c2 anything? I think you can just slide across. So knight here check, and I think he's got this. So hi there Zarazar in the Twitch chat. So he's blocking the king off, and a bishop there will be checkmate. And so Soham resigns. Fumitox in the chat says, is this the Mikhail Tal of Crazy House? It is indeed. And we see really strong people in chat. I saw Katas there a second ago, Fumitox, Finisher, Morlock. Okay, so do we have? I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of this. Let's just quickly recap. It's an e4, e5, bishop e7 line. Okay, interesting. And what I've been seeing a lot in this sort of opening is white playing this knight g5 move. And I was contemplating that if the bishop comes to c5, often the player puts the bishop here on g5 and takes advantage of this pin, but the bishop's on e7, bishop on g5 isn't quite as powerful, which is why knight g5 is often played, and the idea is often to try and attack the light squares around black's king. That's just sort of some very basic e4, e5 opening theory, which I don't play myself, so I'm not an expert at it. But here, somehow black has been given time to pin this knight before and he's got ideas of taking here and then taking here, and then if the queen takes back, knight here check. So already this is looking like a case of give up the queen for 2 pieces, but does Sam know to give up a queen for 2 pieces in Crazy House? We're going to see. Hi there, Juan Cruz Arias, who says, hi, you're the best variant cast I've seen. Thanks for creating this type of content for us passionate variant players. Keep up the good work. Cheers from Argentina. Oh, thanks so much. Let me know who you are on Lichess, by the way. Thanks for the support. And Zarazar, it is indeed CWC, but that has to be ours, doesn't it? Just for fun. So yeah, kudos to Soham. You are Juan Cruz Arias TDF. Okay, I hadn't come across your username before. So that's good to know. So Soham, impressively, he knows to give up the queen for 2 pieces, and of course swing the knight into all these dangerous squares, g7, h6. And all black has is a queen, so actually white is better here, I'd say. Well, white doesn't have a pawn. If white had a pawn for h6, white would definitely be better. Oh, just going straight in. It looks like he's going for the rook, but I think he's actually going for the pawn. So who says 1-0? Ahotokia says 1-0. Yeah, it is. Well, xuanet's not messing about. Queen takes pawn is actually the threat, because if if black can get onto the back rank, then queen takes rook suddenly becomes a threat, because pawn here and back rank mate. Actually, it's not, because the king could try and slide away, but you'd promote, and the game would be over. So if it were black's move, takes this, but is there time? Yeah, so the pawn is more important than the rook here. Because the rook takes, but then there's no follow-up. You could block with the rook, block with the knight. I mean, there's no... You need the pawn. The pawn is crucial. Now, the question is, can white even just ignore and just do something like this? Ah, he does it, and I think that's the correct move. So this is just met by rook takes bishop, I guess. You don't have time for bishop takes pawn, because this will just make queen takes rook, king takes pawn, and so on. So queen takes pawn, you need to defend, rook takes bishop, but now he doesn't have a bishop, and you have a rook defending your own rook. So this is a problem. This is a problem. And you can't take this bishop, of course, because pawn takes bishop, knight takes pawn. Oh, you maybe can. King h8, drop, king back, knight there. You drop back and you claim that white has only got one pawn, this pawn here. He needs a second pawn for mate. Something like this. It's dangerous. So, yeah, xuanet's in the tank. What to do here? Yeah, I'm not sure. And, oh, yeah, no, I'm not sure. I mean, bishop here, do we lose our attack, maybe? And then take here. Oh, he does that. Okay, it feels good when 2400 plus players do are playing the lines I'm thinking. So he does get this check in, but notice g7 is safe, so the game goes on. But black has certainly lost his attack, and will have to rebuild something. Ilion says, xuanet is hard to pronounce, so just call him Tal. Yeah, this is going to be a struggle. This is going to be a struggle. Because where's the queen even... I mean, you can... Oh, I thought he'd take this one, with pawn here next. But, okay, this is interesting too. He decided to give up the queen with tempo. So, of course, he could not... The point of the move was he could not back off to here, because otherwise knight takes h6 was check, picking up the queen. So, the queen was either here or here, but this was too slow. This is much more direct. So Juan Cruz says, what's the format? Okay, so it's 10 games of 3+2 Crazy House. And it's best of 10. So if one player gets to 5.5 games, that's a win. And if it's 5-5, then the tiebreaker is keep on playing 2 games. Okay, I'm going to have to come back in a second. Okay, I'm back. This is a knock on the door. And well, the position seems to be similar, but black's consolidating. Seems to have given up the queen at some point. Wow, I mean, this player Soham, he really plays nice, blocking off this pawn. I was thinking if you move there's a discovery, but you block it. He plays very solid Crazy House, I have to say. Does Soham. But in time pressure, knight takes bishop, pawn takes, everything's very safe. So many tempting options. Knight takes g2 is clear. Oh, of course, this is clear. So the continuation is knight here. So you have to take, or queen here's mate, and then knight here, check, rook takes knight, knight takes, and you've cleared away the back rank. Okay, this game 2 was kind of intense. I'm going to play through this game 2 again. So xuanet was black in game 2. He took the queen for 2 pieces and then defended very bravely. But he's got 1 piece in the opponent's half of the board, and he's just gradually just defending and improving. And I think, yeah, when white gives the queen, I think for sure he's better, but he was already looking good. And this is a nice finish. The point being, you can't take it because of queen at g2, and if king at h1, you can't do the smother. Oh, you can do the smother. Oh, you can do the smother because you have a knight in hand. So even though there's knight takes, you have knight here, takes. Okay, I missed that in the live game, but just noticed it just now. Okay, so back to game 3. So sorry for, oops, just back to game 3. Sorry for missing the live action. I'm just going to check out the chat in a second. I was just trying to catch up, and this is where we are. Sacking on f7. Okay, let's see. Can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear me. Okay. Sellout official says voice reveal. Abhijit Go, hi there. Nice position by xuanet. Abhijit Go says watching Opera against Jan as well, side by side. Yeah, well, I can't. I've done it in the past, covering 2 matches at once. In a Shield event when there are 2 people competing for the title. But I can't do that today. I'm going to just focus on this match. But yeah, we all loved to watch Opera against Jan as well. So we have the sack on f7, and he's trying to deflect the knight so he can come in here. And the reason why this is so powerful is it opens up this, and you can't really block here because the knight can take and you can come here. So that's why he's so desperate to get rid of this knight. Interesting. And also it's making Soham think, so that's good. If a move makes your opponent think. Now, what should he do here? Probably just at f6 and give up the knight is wise. Again, will he know that? I don't know. Is Soham active on the house Discord? I don't know. He's a very strong chess player. Like, I was watching his previous matches. The reason he's 2400 ZH is he's actually quite inexperienced in Crazy House. He's played less than 600 games. He doesn't see the deeper mating ideas necessarily, but he is really strong. He's a really strong chess player. You can see already here, by the way, if we picked off this pawn and had a knight here check and pawn here would be checkmate. And xuanet knows that, so he'll be thinking, how can I get myself a knight? Or just how can I go straight for mate? That too. So the point is you can't really protect this because this just gets taken. And if you take, just takes. So queen h5 GG. Yeah, hard to see how to defend. If you hadn't done queen h5 immediately, black could go at f7, so it was correct to go queen h5, not to start hunting for the knight or something else, which was also tempting. Yeah. Oh, give me a knight. Oh, yeah, just give me that knight. Beautiful. Knight's all I need for mate. So the question, knight mates. Let's see, how does knight mate? Knight here, check here. No, that doesn't quite work. Maybe just pawn here. As long as we're safe. Yep. There's no pawn check. Oh, there's a knight check, but we can just go here. So pawn here will look solid. He'll probably defend with the knight. Is there something stronger? Pawn here is also tempting. If king takes, knight here, and then you pick up another pawn and come back. Not sure. So Juan says, what would you recommend as an experienced chess player to prove in Crazy House? And Abhijit Go says, play lots of Black House. Yeah, but Bughouse has a slightly different feel to it than Crazy House, but Bughouse helps. So I'd say the most important thing is understanding mating patterns. So I have a bunch of a playlist called instructive videos on my YouTube. I'd say watch people like Jan Lee play. Just going to block. With knight here, he wants to keep the knight for this square here. But I'd say the biggest thing is knowing the mating patterns. So, oh, that's brave. Okay. So don't give a rook. Yeah, knowing the mating patterns is key. And not creating holes in your position. So in chess, you go c4, c5. It's very important. Oh, that comes. So the reason it's important in chess is because you want to get your knight underneath your pawns. But in Crazy House, c4 and c5 weaken c2, c2, d3. That's the common mistake that chess players make when they start Crazy House. And the other thing is, as a black player, I love the French, but the thing you have to be aware of color complexes in Crazy House. And f6, if you play the French, f6, e5, f6 is just a white already has a wonderful attack into your position. So I'd say that's the big. Well, he's just going for the queen. So if bishop takes the queen with check. I don't see the follow-up mate, but it must be somewhere, right? King takes knight, bishop there, checkmate. Yes, that's the mate, the two diagonal mate. I'll just show it just for those who didn't quite see it live quickly enough. There we go, nice. So yeah, I'd say the French is. I mean, I as a beginner, the French is quite hard to play. I feel in Crazy House. So I play the French in normal chess, and so I try to play the French in Crazy House to begin with. But it's good, but it's difficult. So 3-0 to xuanet. And this is a mistake, you see, straight up, that's a big mistake. I mean, not a big mistake, because the king is evacuating soon, but it's weakening all these light squares which are around the king. Okay, the king will get lost soon, so it's not too big a mistake. But it's not a good move. I don't think. I mean, c4 on the other hand was a very good move, because the idea was to pick up a pawn and dump it on h6. So c4 would have actually been interesting, even though it does weaken the same squares. c4, you pick up a pawn and you have a plan for it. Whereas c3, I'm not quite sure. I'm wondering what this move is about. I don't understand it. Oh, hi there, Gingerbread Man. It's been a long time since I streamed, so that's why it's been a long time since you caught one. You've got to watch out for pawn 8. He has to push h6 himself. h6, if ever this, just push, I think. Oh, but then that does open this up. Okay, so this is more solid. You don't want to give up a pawn for h6. I would go h6 myself. In these sorts of positions, as black, you go h6 because you don't want holes in your position. That's also a big difference from chess, because a hole in your position will be an anchor for your opponent to drop another piece and another and so on. Yeah, so Soham is for sure the stronger chess player, but xuanet is incredibly strong. So I'm expecting h6 here. I hadn't seen this move, knight at h5, but that was a very nice way of stopping it. I was being too chess, I was thinking this, but then this opens up this file a bit too much. But I was thinking of takes and dropping here maybe in future, but it's a bit risky opening up this diagonal. I think black could have closed it later. But and you see that kind of idea in chess, if the opponent's pushing the h-pawn, of going h6 and then g5. h6 after this, go g5 to block it up. So it's a sort of chessy idea. Okay, so I'm expecting h6 here, and at some point, maybe eyeing this g3 square as a potential weakness. So Gingerbread Man says the black light square bishop isn't developed. Well, it is. It doesn't need to move to be developed. Okay, he moves here. Good. Now, see the question about this move. Takes, and replace the bishop here. Has white improved? Has black improved his position? I'm not sure he did. He has, because he's had to waste another move moving the rook. Okay, but at least he has some ideas. And maybe he was thinking of lateral defense, so it's a way of the rook guarding. I mean, this hangs, and if this, this. He's asking for it, I guess. And the point here is that he wants a bishop on g2, and he's not really interested in the rook, because bishop and rook are worth similar. I think he's interested in the pawn. Rook would be very interesting if you could put a rook on the back rank, but the back rank is defended. So again, I think he's interested in that pawn, even more than the rook. Well, we're going to see if he is. He's got a choice of pawns, but I think this pawn, because then you could take a knight next, and then a knight here, and keep going. He does indeed. So just keeping a nice initiative on the opponent. And, oh, but yeah, this is unfortunate. He really should have played h6 before doing anything else. Just it's a move with tempo and really securing his position. Now he's got to be very careful about giving pawns. So white castles. How do you clear out this? This is a real long-term weakness in black's position. It's very hard to see how to clear it. He's going for exchanges. He's giving white another diagonal piece, so it's risky. Okay. So takes, bishop h6 maybe coming. Black is doing very well, says Jusbold. And Gingerbread Man has some ideas about attacking e2, d3, c2 weaknesses. Push. And maybe knight d4. Yeah, we were thinking knight d4 earlier. Oh, he went with the knight. Interesting. So this is now a tender point. h6 is nothing to be concerned of, says Jusbold. Okay. So Jusbold says, don't worry about h6. I think h6 was a concern if white has enough diagonals. So bishop at h6 here, for example. But maybe it's okay. Oh, Joanna, thanks for the sub. I've never seen a penny of the Twitch money for subs, but thanks for the support. It seems under control. Yeah, it does seem under control because the knight was guarding g7. Now the knight is guarding h6. And now he's got another knight guarding h6. So he's playing very defensively. But and only 7 seconds on the clock. No, I appreciate the support, Joanna. So yeah. Oh, wow, Joanna gifted a sub to Jusbold as well. Okay, wow. I want to control this square. It is controlled. Okay, so going. Notice to defend against the back rank, use rooks. Now, unfortunately, just dump the rook. Just queen takes pawn. Oh, queen takes bishop. Just goes straight in. Okay, now I'm losing. Losing focus. But black doesn't. Why queen takes bishop? Why was that necessary? So he was afraid of a rook on the back rank, I guess. But why can't you just go queen takes pawn? Rook here, I guess. But it wasn't necessary. Anyway. Okay, so he's going for a minor piece attack, which doesn't look like it's anything, but pawn here, just throwing pieces, takes. With 2 pawns, bishop, and a rook, and now it looks as if it's under control. I mean, this you can just take it. Yeah, knight takes even stronger. So with discovery threats, and really just killing in time pressure as well. Wasn't rook here? Oh yeah, queen defended rook here. Okay, gosh, he's just forked the 2 queens. Okay, just take this. Knight takes queen is a check, so that's beautiful. So this is all over. Knight takes bishop again. Just running rings around him in time pressure. Absolutely brilliant from xuanet. 4-0. And we have another e4, e5. Yeah, about subs, Twitch basically keeps the money, and I regard it as no, Twitch does a good job in helping promote, helping host live stuff, but I don't really, and so I appreciate them for that. I don't really. Um, I prefer YouTube for obviously watching things back later, and you can make playlists and stuff like this on YouTube. But Twitch has the good, a good like live vibe to it. That's the advantage. Um, and yeah, as Joanna Abhijit goes and Juicebold is seeing it, Twitch keeps 40% of any money that goes through them. So yeah, they keep a big percentage. So this opening seems to have gone well for white. So it's 4-0, e4, e5. I just, hang on a second. So he's given it the piece, and now he's winning the piece back, potentially. I mean, this is just very strange. So pawn, I'm not really familiar with this at all. So if pawn takes knight, knight takes bishop, pawn takes... He's not really winning the piece at all, because pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, everything's under control, and this black knight is already eyeing h3, so this seems actually a bit of a disaster. A bit of an opening disaster for white, actually. I'm very confused. It's a very creative play, for sure. Sacking on e5, but I'm not sure I entirely understand it. Okay, but there was no g5 here? I guess that was a bit crazy. Yeah, because then pawn takes knight, pawn takes bishop, knight here, check. Okay, so... Okay, bishop h4 was smart. Okay, I didn't see bishop h... just simply backing off. Outer Kyoto, xuanet born with the clutch gene. Yeah, well, I remember the days when xuanet would win shields, say coming back against the finisher from like 50 points down or something, and then I don't know. I feel uncomfortable here as white. So he's allowing this, but he just wants this, and then he wants to come in here. But I guess it's sort of uncomfortable. But I guess that's the idea: is just trying to blow things up and cause mayhem. I mean, this is coming... I guess the rook is not too much of a threat, but it's just so confusing. And is he even thinking of queen takes knight, followed by knight takes pawn? That's surely too much, but... Surely too much, because this square here is weak. After bishop takes knight, pawn takes, pawn here, check. Stuff like this. And juice board, okay, so I needed this guidance of the e5 sack is a known line. It's good for white, something like +1, because it gets initiative. But something went wrong later, I think. Now knight takes f6 is a real threat. Oh yeah, of course, you don't need to take the knight, just go knight takes f6 directly. Because the knight is pinned. So knight takes f6 is a serious threat. And if he does something like at e7 and he's looking too passive, or at g7 is solid, but it's kind of okay. So takes is interesting. Queen takes queen, bishop takes queen. This is like complete chaos. Well, material is back level. Oh, bishop takes. Oh, bishop takes f6. Yeah, bishop takes f6. The point being, if this comes with check, okay, yeah, you can't take it because of the pin. Yeah, bishop takes f6 now. Good idea. So if bishop takes f6, what's the response? Ooh, both players have used up all their time. Bishop takes f6. Okay, queen e6. Yeah, this is tough, tough crazy house. But if queen e6, there's also ideas of bishop takes knight and knight at g7, forking the queen. Xuanet's down to 20 seconds. He doesn't want to leave it that low. He goes knight takes. Why? I don't understand. Queen takes, king takes. What? Oh, king takes, bishop takes. Obviously, yeah. But he's left this square open. Bishop takes knight, pawn takes pawn here. And I guess he must have calculated that he could run away. I mean, but that's brave. Pawn here is tempting. Pawn here is very tempting. Okay, so here at least bishop takes knight. He could take back with a knight and so cover this square if he really needs to. Okay. Oh, he didn't go pawn g7. Doesn't pawn. Oh, black didn't have enough pawns to do this pawn at d2 stuff. Okay. Okay. Takes. This is coming in. It's coming in hot. I don't see what the defense is. Takes, and you can even defend. Queen takes here if you need to, but you've got queen takes rook. Oh, this is very uncomfortable. Oh my goodness. This is not what he intended. Queen takes... Okay, he's going for the minor mate. I don't... Has he got the minor mate? Bishop takes bishop, sure. 6 seconds to find it. He's got a pawn and... Okay, that's just blocked. That doesn't work. Knight here, back off, and then he just runs to here. So I think he's missed it. Bishop takes bishop though. Okay, yeah, takes, but pawn here, you just back off. Just take it. What? Oh, it's pinned. Knight f3 was mate because the g file was pinned. Okay, so it was all over. Okay, that was a beautiful attack from Soham. Yep. So there was always, whenever the king went to g1, knight at h1 or knight at h3 or knight at f3 was mate. Okay, so this game has just been a d4, d5 with the fianchetto. He should really play in these sorts of positions. You should really play h6 before your opponent gets a pawn, in my opinion. But maybe it's nothing. This is just a personal preference. I don't like my opponent building walls of pawns into my position on h6 and g7. Gisbel says, I think it went wrong with knight takes f6 instead of bishop takes f6. For sure. Bishop takes f6, we said queen takes, and they pick up a knight for knight at g7. And it looked very strong. So 4-1. Okay, just going straight for the attack without anything in hand. So if white is brave, he can just castle. But he's not brave. Fair enough. And this is looking good for white because black doesn't have any pieces, basically. Ah, you pick up a pawn and suddenly things are interesting. Yeah, I missed this. You pick up a pawn and suddenly you have ideas. And oh, you've even got queen takes knight. So wonderful interference move this with at d2. Go queen takes knight. Probably queen takes knight is even stronger than bishop h3. So that's going to make Soham think. Yeah, so it looked like he dropped d5, but this is a nice, you sacks his knight, but he wins the knight back, but the king is destabilized. King is not where it wants to be, the rook isn't where it wants to be. Again, this h6 I'm not happy with. h6 being open I'm not happy with as black, but you can see this we could sidestep quite happily and make sure we don't give a rook, for example. Because a rook here takes would be a smothered mate. You don't want a knight coming and taking here either, but that seems defended against. So, and that would open up all sorts of ideas. So, okay, he decides, actually I want material. Interesting. Feels risky, but okay. Juicebold says the thing about h6 is white risks to overextend. Yeah, so that's why sometimes you don't go straight for h6. Sometimes you go for g5 first and build the attack more slowly. Ooh. So I wonder if I could just... We could just chill and go knight here, pick up a bishop. What do we really want? What we really want... But a rook on the back rank is awesome. Hang on a second. This rook on the back rank picks up the queen. That's a good deal. So bishop takes, you'd have to go king takes. But then we have all kinds of discoveries. We could go like knight here, check, and take this queen. So bishop takes rook for the win, right? Takes, rook here, check, takes, it's not, yeah, well, we're going to see this line. Yeah, okay, so he goes there, so rook here is coming. I can't see the mate, someone's saying mate in 2 in chat, I can't see it just yet. I don't understand, what? Okay, there's some next level thing going on here from xuanet. I don't get it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So the idea is if bishop takes rook, knight here, check. This is insane. What is he doing? This is insane. So the idea is if you go king here, you go queen takes bishop mate. And if you take the knight, this queen takes bishop, and the bishop mates. That is next level. So if you take the knight, the point is you take the bishop, and you get the bishop, which is exactly the piece you need to mate with bishop at g2. The king is just smothered there on f1, it can't go anywhere. But hang on, he had f takes g3, f takes g3, f takes g3, where's the mate? Queen takes bishop, block, bishop here, king here. I don't get it. Okay, so in the end he just defends. I don't get it. So instead he's going for a bishop. And why does he want a bishop? He's only got 8 seconds to try and figure this out. It's just a very confusing position. He really wants a bishop. Why does he want a bishop? I have to admit I'm a bit lost in this position. I'm feeling that's also a pin of my queen. Okay, so he wants this discovery and queen takes bishop. Okay. But this, and suddenly this is not so nice. Or is it? They're certainly playing a very creative game. Okay, bishop in hand. What are we going to do with our bishop in hand? Uh-oh. There could be a mate somewhere here. No, that doesn't work. Just takes it. I think this is going to be a time pressure thing. I trust xuanet more under time pressure. But I bet there was something there. Just back off. I can't see it. Knight takes rook. Rook here. Is there a mate there or not? It's annoying because I can't see it. Just playing it safe though. Not giving the pieces. I don't. There's knight here. Check. Okay, okay, he's got there in the end. But that was very confusing. So just here, there's so many pieces. Knight here, king takes knight, and then suddenly you find you don't have any checks to continue. So it's quite smart just to pick up the material and get it. But backing up here, I was quite worried that there is a mate here for white. So let's just think for 2 seconds to see if we can see a mate here. So rook here check, takes, knight takes pawn check, king here, bishop here check, king here. Okay, I'm gonna cheat and look at engine. Apparently no mate. Yeah, no mate at all. Okay, but okay. So back to the live action. And xuanet 5-1 up. He needs half a point more to take this match. We're going to see this swinging here, I suspect. And so yeah, so Soham has to win 4 straight. Messy game, says Abhijit Go. That rook at h1 was way too fancy, I agree. Rook at e1 is the right move and more practical. Yeah, just pick up the queen, it's easy. Rook at e1 was mate in 3 anyway, I think. Queen covers f7. Let's actually have a quick look at that game. Let's have a quick look. So just backing out, rook at a1 was being way too fancy, I agree. So rook at e1, and we'll just turn on engine for a second. Queen takes e1, this is just takes. If rook takes, there was... Oh. Yeah, then this whole trick worked a lot nicer. If rook takes, then we could do this queen at h1 beautiful trick. Here, and actually knight g3 doesn't, knight d2 is even nicer because then he has to go here. Oh, and knight at h3 mate. Oh, okay. The problem with this move is he's got f takes. So if we do this and he blocks, and okay, we just about we have another knight to finish things off. So we do cover everything. But okay, the way it happened in this game with rook at h1, is so apparently this didn't. I was worried about this move here. F takes, queen takes, but you still have a knight in hand for h3. So the bishop is what you need for mate, but you also need the knight. So the trick did work. I was worried about f takes. The trick does work, but this was just a lot simpler with rook at d1, as we saw in the game. It was a complicated game. Okay, sorry for losing the live action, and because it could be the final game. So we have a Scotch kind of defense. We don't have knight f5. Instead we have this, and we're going to get g or e d takes. Okay, we have a black doesn't want the queen trade. I guess if there were a queen trade, at h6 is coming soon. It's unclear who's benefiting. Okay, but white's got a good attack going. White has the white advantage. Now I've got to watch out for discoveries along the e-file, so probably he's going to castle fairly quickly. Oh my goodness. I'm slightly concerned. So you just imagine a situation where this knight were not here. You'd have like bishop here, double check. No, that wouldn't quite be mate. So if this pawn weren't here, you'd obviously have bishop here, checkmate. Straight away, a double checkmate. So, okay, so this is xuanet basically saying you don't have mate. I want a queen for h8, and I'm going to get mate. And this is sort of a situation where if black doesn't like bishop f6, I can totally see xuanet going queen e2. I'm not saying it works. I'm just saying it's the kind of move he'd do in this sort of situation. I don't think it works because bishop f6, queen e2, rook takes queen, bishop takes. But now it's black with the queen, and surely there's too much with just like a pawn here and a queen on the back rank. You've got 2 pawns in hand. That's surely too much, and you'd have a back rank mate. Yeah, Jispel says queen e2 loses. Yeah, takes and at d2 stuff. Yeah. So I'm just showing how it's bishop h4. So xuanet playing hyper aggressively. Yeah, why not bishop h4 at d2 and simply takes here? And he's just claiming that this square is covered by the bishop. But it looks like white has just walked into an attack. Well, oh, there's also just pawn at e6 as a defense. Pawn at e6 is quite a fun defense. Okay, so notice he wants queen takes knight. He wanted queen takes knight and knight here checkmate. It doesn't work, sorry, because queen takes back and this knight is pinned. So I'm just being slightly blind here. This position is confusing me. Yeah, bishop d6 just stops the queen trade, so it's just trying to be hyper safe. And already time pressure. Oh dear, you're giving away the rook and then you're losing the queen. So this is just game over. Yeah, just simply rook here and take the queen. Just very, very easy. That was a really bad, I mean that's like a game-losing blunder right there. Okay, so he's defending against the one square where the queen wanted to penetrate. But probably everything is good here. Let's see what's the most efficient way of finishing it. Okay, so he's going for this. Bishop f6 is coming, so the king has to step up. But there's probably a mate in 1 somewhere I'm missing. Queen at f6. Queen at f6 is mate in 1, yeah. So, good games to xuanet. He made it look easy. 6-1. I mean, Soham was a really tough opponent. But xuanet was too good. Good games. So let's see. I seem to be live on Lichess, so how about we take a look at the match between Antic and Craze. Oh, Juiceful just pointing out something we missed. So let's just quickly take a look at this. If you give a move number, that would also be great. So bishop takes d7, c takes d7, queen takes d7, e6, f takes e6. And why not knight f6? Oh, we don't have a knight. Okay, yeah. e6, f takes. Hang on, we have the knight on the board. So it's oh, I see. We want to go knight f6, but we can't because it's pinned. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But was there something more clear cut here? Yeah, bishop h4 check was more obvious. Then at e6, then bishop takes f2, king f1. That was the more obvious line, but then knight e3 check doesn't work. Bishop takes e3. So knight at e3 check, bishop takes e3, knight takes e3. Not going king takes bishop because then black wins a queen with check and the queen file is open. So you have to go king e2, and this is a point where black can't take your queen because apparently two knights are just too dangerous. King takes g7, knight at f5. He can't go back because at g7 is mate, so he has to come up. And then rook takes knight, and apparently we're fine. I mean, crazy game. So yeah, xuanet just really he does leave chances, but he just goes hell for leather at the opponent. I mean, let's look at computer analysis. Just says that white was doing well the whole time, which is that's nice. I mean, hard to believe it was all so smooth, but he knew what he was doing. Just to see, I mean, just even for opening theory, what happens if this takes, and you just go straight in for h6? And if, sorry, rook takes, it makes more sense. But notice that these squares are both covered. And I was thinking at h6, but apparently even stronger than h6 is just straight bishop takes f7. And you can't take, because otherwise knight g5 looks like it'll be mating, or knight e5 even. So king h8 and then h6. So that was the idea. Just going straight for the queen trade and going for the attack. So Soham avoided that, but the attack came anyway. Very, yeah, really aggressive play, showing what xuanet is made of. Yeah, if only we okay. Obviously, this is a huge mistake, but yeah, everything is bad at this point. How is xuanet so good? That's the thing. Yeah, amazing. So let's do Antic Craze. Oh, and just Abhijit Go is saying, why not watch Upper Waizen against Jan Lee? That could be fun as well. They're playing 3+2, and this, if they're playing 10 games, this would be the final game. This is an intense one. So, okay, let's watch this. Both sides have less than 40 seconds on the clock. Jan is losing a queen. He's got his queen trapped. Not quite trapped, because actually I can't see a way of trapping it, because this, you just take this. So Jan is holding on to his queen. But this is very tempting to sack as well. So, okay, this is a weird position, because at the end of the day, black doesn't want all his pieces on his... He wants his pieces attacking the opponent. So you see how Oppa's doing a lot better here. Just simply takes here, looks strong. Oh my goodness, white. So just simply taking here takes... Okay, the reason he doesn't do this is bishop at b7 at the end of the line, and then the queen has nowhere to go. So bishop takes a6 was really... Ooh, nice move. Didn't want to take because it would open up the file on the king. This is the scary stuff from Oppa here. Jan sacks the queen and desperately defending queen at a8 checkmate with this very creative move, rook at a7, and it's low time. Not sure what this move is at all. That looks like a slip of some kind, maybe. Well, unless he wants to push. He does want to push, okay. And of course there are ideas here. Knight takes knight, bishop takes. Okay, so he's weakened up the he's softened up the g6 square, notice. Ooh. What is this move? He wants double check. Okay, so it's probably simply going to grab this. Oh, I mean, this is quite... So pawn here, notice g8 is weak. Okay, so now g8 is covered again, but now g8 is weak again. So queen at g8 is mate, and he gets it. So 5-5. Okay, so we were seeing this weak h6 in the xuanet games, but he seemed to be fine. So you see how Opperweisen's defending the weak h6 not with h6, but with king h8, knight g8, and the problem is that obviously that it's leaving f7 a little bit tender, so you'd have to go something like queen e8 or e6. So he's trying to stop h4, h5. h5 is a target though. Yeah, so the queen is reinforcing, because obviously if ever knight takes f7, rook takes, g6 was also a target. So it's a chess game. No pieces in hand. They just have to figure out how to create a hole in the opponent's position. Obviously white's got space advantage. White's got the piece in black's half. Black doesn't have a piece in white's half. So if you're black, your strategy is how to chase away this knight. But the problem is even when you chase away the knight, you're just opening up this this battery. So it's not clear. As Abuni Kabi says in the Lee Chess chat, no pieces exchanged for 12 moves. So Oppa's going for a kingside something, I'm not quite sure what, because this just gets taken, so what's the idea? Try and pick up a bishop. Okay, well it's making Jan think, that's for sure. I mean, I don't think you'd even want to do this, because the bishop would reroute to here, where it's even stronger. Bishop's not really achieving much here. So this looks like a waiting move. I don't see it. Don't see what it does. So pawn sack. Yep, just going straight for it. I kind of had an intimation of this. Takes, pawn here. And he's just going to put another pawn here, and so has white made progress at the end of all of that? And it's not clear they have. I mean, pawn here? Okay, pawn at h6. Interesting. So he wants f5 and queen takes rook. Yeah, Abhijit Go says this is very chessy and this wouldn't be good in Bughouse. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, Rook at h7 is mate in Bughouse. So yeah. Whereas in Crazy House, I'm thinking black might even be slightly better. I was thinking f5, but I just realised f5 just opens up at f7, which is sort of annoying. And then we give up a rook. And also f5 weakens d6. So, Bishop here seems fun. But the problem is the knight can just back off if we even... Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, it doesn't work. And this move says black really wants a pawn. And again, I'm not sure it works. Takes. Yeah, I guess that might work. But suddenly I'm not liking black so much after all of that. So rook at h7 is a mate threat if he ever gets a rook. And, you know, pawn f7 is looking a bit annoying as well. Pawn takes knight. I don't know, suddenly it's not looking so nice. Gingerbread Man says, is the Crazy House Team League on right now? No, we had one just before Crazy House World Championship started in January. Was it in January? Well, it was just before the Crazy House World Championship started. We had one edition. Was it January or February? But Jan is just killing this. So it's just game over. I mean, you got pawn takes rook, queen takes, bishop here check, and rook here checkmate, and Oppa's just rolled over here. So he has to do something like queen here, pawn takes rook, queen takes rook, bishop here, knight here, and defend. But then the moment he goes knight here, he's opening up h6, so maybe he has to go new knight at f6 at some point. Okay, so queen here, pawn takes rook, queen takes rook, pawn takes knight, or even rook here, and the problem is then there's knight there check, picking up the queen. So he can't do that either. So he wants to go knight at f6 to defend at some point, but what does he do with the queen in the meantime? That's the problem. And if he goes queen here or queen here, the queen's no longer really on defensive duty. You could imagine queen here takes, knight here. It's just a... I mean, what a turnaround. I thought black was doing fine. And then, what's he done? He just gave up the queen. Just straight up gave up the queen. Wow. And resigned, basically. Okay, that was pretty funny, actually. Look, so in this position here, yeah, so here he's doing fine. This maybe was positionally weakening. Rook here didn't seem to do anything. Takes. And I thought this was nice, this idea of this. But then, what do you do now? And yeah, that wasn't the move. It's just hard to know what to do here. Yeah, bishop f6 doesn't work because so I was thinking if white just backed off the knight, yeah, even that was winning. Okay, bishop takes rook, bishop takes h6. This is what I was thinking. So yeah, white's just broken through basically. You can't, and so I guess this is the mistake, allowing the breakthrough. But what else to do? Just knight f6. It suggests knight f6. If white comes back, then maybe we just go back to g8 and defend again. I don't know. No, that doesn't work at all because then h5 comes. Yeah, hard to know how to hold this position. Okay, back to the live action. So avoiding the queen trade. black forces the queen trade. So white, so if we just sort of back up a second, black has sacked a piece. Oh, but white also sacked a piece straight up. So at the end of the day, everyone's equal except white's king has to somehow defend itself in the center of the board. Yeah, Abhijit Go, yeah, it was in February, that's right. Just before CWC started, so it's not happening at the moment. I guess it will happen again once once CWC quietens down a bit. But unlike previous editions, it seems like there are new regulations about data and so forth, so that the Crazy House Team League website will probably not be we probably won't be able to use the Crazy House Team League website, so it'll be like a manual league and anyone can join and stuff like this. Yeah, so exactly. The advantage of the Team League is it encourages you to really slow down in your thinking. So yeah. So and if you want to join, just join the Crazy House Team League on Lichess, the Crazy House Team League team, as it were, on Lichess, and that way, whenever there is a league, you'll get a notification about it. So he's going here for, if black did nothing, queen here check, king here, and knight here would be checkmate. I mean, the king could come back into here, but then pawn here would be checkmate. So that's the threat. Queen here check, knight here check, pawn there checkmate. So defending with the counterattack makes sense. So it makes sense to put a queen on, so you can't take the knight. Oh, okay, puts a knight on. Interesting. Of course, the danger of the knight is it can get pinned. So what's the response to e6? That's another idea, but you could just go pawn here. So what was the problem with e6? The problem with e6 was knight takes pawn here check, king here, and then queen on the back rank. Oh my goodness, was that an idea? I missed. Takes, queen here, king here. Yeah, so that was probably an idea though, which I missed. Okay, that's brave. Just saying I'm going to slide away. So he really wanted, yeah, at f7 at some point. But I don't see it because you could always go knight takes pawn, king here, and then knight takes knight, and then you're covering f7. And then if you take back, then you could just go pawn at f7. So I feel like black's got the initiative. You can always keep at it. Yeah, so knight now defends at f7, and if you take back, then you can go at f7 yourself. So they're playing the line I suggested, so that's nice. And now white's got a lot of material in hand, but that means black's got more material on the board with stuff like, oh, wait. There was knight here check, king takes, king here, queen takes pawn check. I don't understand this knight g6. Maybe you can just block it and there's nothing. Maybe. Queen takes pawn check and then maybe there's nothing. So maybe that was just too ambitious, giving away too many pieces. And last one, hi there. He says at b6 was not a move for white last move. At b6, it's very creative. I'm not sure exactly which move you meant, but at b6 the idea would be takes, and then I'm not. And then rook at b8. Yeah, hard to say. So, what is this? Just okay. He's trying to slide out of this discovery, and he's not worried about this d file being open. Wow, that's true. It's a good point. suddenly, white's controlling the d file. Oh, just when we thought. Okay, so is there a mate here? Rook here, check. King takes. Knight takes pawn, check. King here. Okay, I notice he's quite a cunning actual move. Now it works. Rook here. Now it works. It surely works. He does it. Takes. Knight takes pawn. King take. Queen here. Check. Okay. So you don't go here because queen here is mate, so you have to step up. And then you don't want to walk into this, so you just step straight into here. Block. Takes. Queen here would be easy, but this will also work. There, knight here is mate. Oh, I missed that, but that's, yeah, okay. Knight here is. Rook takes pawn is mate as well, so yeah. Lots of mates at the end. I'm sure there was a cleaner mate somewhere here with just queen at e8, but let's just have a look. No, knight at e6. Knight at e6 was correct. Takes. No, takes is correct. No, this is the key move. Knight at f7. So he can't run here, and he has to go here, and then queen here. So the key here is intermezzo. You go knight here, but with no intention of taking back. That's the beautiful move here. Knight here, no intention of taking back. You just want to go knight here, and this knight keeps the king running this way, and then queen here is checkmate. So that was the way to polish this off nicely. And was there anything forced immediately here? There was. With knight at e6, you can't just sidestep because this is mate, so you have to take it. Then knight at f7, king e8, then knight at c7. Same kind of pattern, where the knights are forcing the king out, and then queen at e8, king here, and pawn here, checkmate. Okay, but Oppa got the win in the end. Hi there, R2300, and also Tropical Cheese. Okay, exciting games, and it's 6-6. I'm just wondering if I should watch a bit longer. No, I think that was I think it's been very entertaining to watch, but I really want to show people the Antic Craze match, and that will take quite a long time, and that's why I'm wondering whether I should just do it another time. Last one, disposition. Yeah, it is deja vu, isn't it? We're seeing this. It's not good for black, this setup, but they're repeating it. So yeah. Okay, let's do Antic against Craze. Did they play the same game again? It looks like Oppa's just trying to do a variation, same line, and he's just trying to switch it up. So queen comes to e8. There's been a slight difference. This has come, but this is not good for black, as we've seen. And but somehow so the problem was last time was g4 h5 was the problem last time, whereas this time round Jan Lee's played it a bit more passively. Well, they're just playing a different game now. Yeah. They're switching it up. Okay, how do I run a vote? Okay, if there's any mods here, okay, how do you run a vote? Let's see, who's in chat who knows how to do these things? So, not quite sure. So if I, let's see, vote. I'm just experimenting. So do you do, is it slash vote and then is it like a semicolon or a comma? Let's see if that works. Okay, it seems I don't know how to run a vote and I don't know how to yeah, we'll watch the game then. So how's things progressed? So the dark square diagonals come alive a bit more in this game, or it was about to come alive a bit more. But I guess he didn't want that to come alive because that's kind of going to be a bad idea for black. So he keeps it closed. So white pinches a pawn. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. So just what's the final position from black's point of view? It's not a healthy position, this whole thing. Okay, I'm gonna actually look at you need to type in poll. Okay, let's try this again. Poll. Open a setup menu to create a poll. Okay, I'm just setting up a poll. I've never done this before, so it's completely new to me. Duration 1 minute. Start poll. Vote. Should we commentate on Opperweizen against Jan Lee? Or should we do a recap of Antic against Craze? Okay, I'm going to leave that open for 1 minute. I'm going to be back in a second. So we have 100% response. We want opera against Jan commentary. Okay, we're going to do it. Cool. So just to look at this game, opera needs to change up his opening as black. That wasn't working in the last game. So this game, what do we see? It seems like opera's just losing a pawn, but he's getting at h6. So you're losing the pawn, but you're getting initiative. And I think Jan is going to be a bit worried about actually this game. Because sure, he can take back the pawn, but at h6, he's going to have to go something like bishop f6. No, it just doesn't work. Takes, then here, but then pawn at g7. So it looks like Jan has already lost. Which is why he's gone into the tank. What can I do? Looks like he's taken with this rook, so if he ever wants to evacuate the king. So he's already thinking desperately, but he can't evacuate the king ever, because the bishop will cut him off. But maybe he's hoping at some point. So yeah, just a pawn, but maybe he was a bit too greedy. Okay, at h6, what's there to think about here? So the problem if you just go bishop f6 is, you could do bishop f6 actually, takes, pawn at h6, and back off, but then you have pawn at g7, that's the problem with that kind of thing. Then you have to put a knight on g6 to defend this mate. You're doing a very passive defense. The alternative is takes, bishop f6 here, pawn at g7, you're still going to need the knight at g6 defense. So this is why he's just running this clock all the way down. Why doesn't he do, you might ask, takes, and pawn... Okay, so this is the same as bishop f6, basically. Why didn't go takes, and put a pawn back on g7? That doesn't work, because king takes is getting mated, basically. So the reason it's getting mated, you go bishop h6 straight away, and if king takes h6, queen at g5 is checkmate. And if you don't take that, you back off, queen at g7 is mate. So that's why this h6 idea is so powerful. Okay, so this is simple. Just take. Surely just take is correct. Takes, but look, he looks like opera's looking for even stronger. Yeah, so he's thinking about this. If takes, knight here, king here, queen at g8, queen here, bishop here, these sorts. Sorry, queen here, king here. Okay, these sorts of ideas. But okay, what happened instead was bishop takes knight. Okay, he just grabs the bishop. Knight comes in. Notice, by the way, if takes, you would never take this bishop with the knight, because that would slow down your attack. You always want to attack with diagonals. You'd only do that if the knight on g7 had future plans, like it was hitting another piece. Bishop here. Don't quite have enough diagonals to be fancy like this. Oh, maybe you do actually. Bishop here, pawn takes, queen here, mate. So bishop here is very interesting. The idea being if pawn takes bishop, knight takes, king here, queen here, mate. Yes! So I'm just pleased because I saw the opera move. Okay, so Jan's being sneaky here. Does he have a mate? Takes. Has opera left something open? That would be insane. I think he has. Here, knight g3. No, he hasn't. It's all defended. Knight defends g3. But h2, super safe, super safe. I don't get it though. Oh, I see. He was going for knight at f3, and queen at h2, mate. So very sneaky from Jan. Okay, so he was going. This is going too quickly, but he's going for rook at h8, which is why this pawn had to be taken. Rook here, check. Pawn here. If you're not mated, then that is surely mating you. Knight here, knight takes queen is coming, so you have to step up. You're still winning the queen with check, and that's game over. Yeah, just step up and queen here, mate. Okay, so yeah, good game from Oppa. Last one says black Mr. Mate, I reckon. Well, let's check it out. Let's check it out. So I know kind of when you mean it would be at this point. Does black have something? Knight takes e2, king h2. Is there something here? He's got so many pieces. Two knights, like you'd be thinking about moves like knight at f3 and stuff like this. But yeah, apparently black is doing fine here. How is that true? Like, what did white do wrong? So, apparently, I mean, this is insane. The defense. I mean, I wouldn't know this. I'd have thought the defense here is just takes, but yeah, that's not. The defense here is queen at g6, and if you take, remember the threat is queen at h8, mate. So just queen takes, and I'd have thought just pawn here. And queen g6, and I'd have thought this is just a serious worry, because takes, takes, and now you have to do this knight at g6. And white has knight at 8. Okay, so something went, hang on. Yeah. This is all good for white. Yeah, this is the problem. So what did... Yeah, this is all good for white. There's nothing you can... I think, yeah, the engine is kind of deciding, yeah, this is all good for white. Which is what I thought. Okay. So then this is a mistake. You play it very simple. Just takes, and just even at h6 I'd have thought is good. But apparently not, because black just backs off. Knight at h6 looks good as well. Yeah, that makes sense as well. Just trade off that bishop, and then he can't really run. So if he goes this way, it's a smothered mate. If he goes this way, there's queen here, queen takes pawn. That's surely going to be mate soon. So yeah, the knight there's, yeah. So what? Yeah, what was there an actual mate missed? Oh, here there's a mate missed. With okay, this is maybe what Lass was saying. Knight here takes here, and queen here checkmate. That's a very simple mate. My goodness. My goodness. I didn't realize. How come he had a queen in hand? Oh, because he just took the queen. That's why. So there was no time to grab that rook, but it was just time pressure, 4 seconds against 2 seconds, and it was all crazy. And whoa, just can you see like this move here? You defend with a queen and you're safe, but if you defend with the knight, suddenly it goes from -20 to +20. Why? Because the knight was what you needed for f3, I guess. Because queen here, if you take here, bishop takes, everything's safe. And still knight here and rook here would basically be mate. Yeah, knight here, rook here is mate. So you've still got your mate threat. Yeah, so that was the explanation for knight d4. But what was the explanation for knight d4 is because he wanted this attack for sure. But what was the correct way of attacking here? Was just going queen g6 straight away for black. Queen g6. Yeah. How do I get out? Queen g6. Queen g6. Queen g5. And okay, there is this idea of bishop at g1 apparently, which is dangerous because then if you don't take it, then queen h2 is mate, so that you just take it. But why is that so dangerous? Because knight takes rook has a threat of knight takes f3, I guess. And why can't that be defended? Like, if you just do something stupid like this, oh, then there's knight at f1. Okay, so you need to defend this square and this square. It's kind of hard because this square is already, yeah. So queen takes g6, h takes g6. This is just hard, yeah. So black wins. I don't understand this. So the idea of bishop g1. So even in this position originally, if bishop at g1 takes, we can't afford to take back because knight at d2 will mate us. Yeah, that's the point. So you can take back, and suddenly you have this sort of knight f3 type checks, knight f1 type checks, and it's just very hard to defend both those at the same time. So that was a kind of interesting attack idea from black. Okay, so we've lost a lot of action. 7-7 between Oppa and Jan. Jan going for the sack on f7, and Oppa's managed to consolidate, traded queens. So this game, well, I was going to say Jan is the one with the uncomfortable king in the center of the board, but suddenly, after this move, suddenly I'm worried about Oppa's king a lot more. Yeah, so I think Oppa's fighting for survival, but what a move here. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? Takes here. He must have a plan. He must think he has enough here. Bishops. The idea is bishop takes pawn. So I think he does have enough. But so king can't go here because queen here is mate. King can't go there because bishop takes pawn. King takes bishop. And he can't go knight here, but knight at, and that will be enough. Okay, so that was a neat win from Oppa to sort of as black. So that sort of breaks the streak of white wins. So takes. So it's turned into, yeah, sort of French defense turned into a kind of Scandi type. Or is it what do you call it? An exchange French? But an exchange French where somehow black has got their pawn to d4. So the thing about a move like this, I always think, if black simply does this, trade, black has effectively developed two pieces, and white only developed one. Whereas with this, you're suddenly weakening d6, but he's... And d6 is fine, it's well protected for now, but it might not be in future. Just simply d3, by the way, is strong here. There's no need to take this knight. You develop a piece. You develop your bishop. So yeah, they're on 9,150 or so games. $9,154. Okay, easy. At h6. Yeah, I don't know why. Why trade that knight? This knight was more advanced. It's a pretty piece. By doing this, suddenly black is defending g7 again, in a way. Interestingly, knight takes bishop, queen takes, or knight takes pawn. Okay, this is exactly what he's doing. He's trying to Okay, so he doesn't go straight for h6, he's building it up more slowly. Bishop here is tempting. Do we have enough? I think maybe we're a little bit short. It's a tempting move. So the point is, if you take, you could go knight takes, and you just want to go pawn here and pawn here, checkmate. You don't quite have enough, but that's the dream. Okay, we see that move played. Oh, give me a knight. Oh, any day. What is Jan doing? Am I missing something? Just free piece? I mean, Oppa's thinking, because like he's got such a nice choice. Do I take the knight or do I take g7? They're both such nice choices. He takes g7 even. Ouch. So this has worked out really badly. For black, I mean, having said that, white's down a piece for a pawn. I think, I wonder if taking the knight was stronger, but simple plan, take a pawn, dump it on g7. It's going to be hard to defend. This pawn can't go anywhere, so you can't avoid the pawn trade, so you have to somehow defend g7, maybe with a knight or something. Or some counter threat, which I don't see it. So maybe going for g7 was good, because it's not so easy to defend a long-term weakness. Having said that, why? Yeah. I wonder if there was a better place for that queen. Just somewhere closer to the king side in a way. But okay. Okay, so Jan Lead is going straight for an attack, which is interesting. I don't know if I believe it, but... So the threat here is just at g7, takes... Yeah, we still don't quite have enough. Goes for the rook. And now he still needs like a pawn and a knight. So like a rook here takes, king here, pawn here, check, king here, knight here would be very pretty, mate. So if we had a pawn and a knight, that's what we'd do. Interesting. If pawn takes knight, what was the plan? Knight here, check, king here. Was there a mate even? Knight here, check, king here, knight here, check, king. I think the king runs away. So it would have been tempting to take that knight, because then you only need a pawn to mate. There was a mate after knight at g2. Which game are we talking? If we just take this knight here, are you saying there's a mate here? Because I could believe that, but I just don't see it. Okay. And again, I don't see the. Okay, I see this is actually quite nice. The queen is not good there on c7, and time is not good either. Oh, this is bad. What's the plan? Rook takes pawn. Pawn here, rook here. I mean, if we had lots of moves, that's what we'd do. What if we don't have lots of moves? Rook takes knight is also tempting, but we need another pawn for here. So goes for the pawn, pawn here. Just needs a knight to win. Oh yeah, rook. I still don't quite see it. Rook here. We can't even go knight takes bishop because I said we can't do that, but why not? Because don't we get mated here? I guess a rook is defending everything, even if there was something. Rook takes pawn is coming. Ouch. This is this is a funny game. This bishop now can swing over if it wants to. And 4 seconds to try and figure something out. Oh, that was a bad mistake from Jan. Yep. So did black have mate at some point there? So Gingerbread Man saw something on move 25. Okay. Knight at f3. Takes. 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 Yeah, it's a simple one. I was thinking in this position here, we just take here and say, I'm not scared of your, I was going to just go this way, but apparently going the other way is even safer. Yeah, so you could have just taken the knight at g7, king g8, and just take the knight and we're threatening mate here. That was interesting. So, but instead, converted a lot. Okay, so yeah, we had to take this knight. That knight was threatening mate. But then, yeah, there are no obvious mates here, although there was a mate here. It's bishop at g7, king g8, and at e7, threatening pawn takes knight equals queen. And if the knight moved, then you just promote, is the problem. Rook at f8 takes, and you got a rook for h8. Yeah, and the point is you can't lose the knight because either knight at h6 will be mate. So this is that's a very nasty little thing. Bishop here, the idea of bishop here, check, and pawn here, and there's nothing you can do because you either take the knight or you promote. Eek. Yeah. So this is after king g1. Just maybe this is another point of interest in the game. There was at c2 to deflect the queen. The point being, if you do this, then you're no longer defending knight at f3. Knight at f3, bishop takes f3, knight takes f3, king here, knight f4, covering this, and then you block and bishop takes his mate. So that's the kind of pattern you're looking for. So this move is incredibly strong. So you could throw in a check, king h8, but this queen is being deflected away from defending f3, which is key. That was a kind of key idea for black, this f3. And yeah, he didn't pull the trigger. And so Oppa won the game. So back to the live action. We have a French defense. Oh, I can't believe he's playing the French defense. I mean, he's playing the French defense with c5, which is you can only do that if you're very strong. It's very risky. It's very risky because the moment you push this pawn, d6 is weak, and white can drop pieces there. So it's a very chessy thing to do. Jan immediately sacks the queen, and Oppa is forced to sack it back. But what I don't like though is any piece trades, this is going to hurt. So white is obviously doing very nicely here. Even though he's down a piece and a pawn, I think he's down a piece, yeah, down a whole piece, but doing very nicely. People are saying in the chat 9,061 games. They must have played some unrated games as well, because if you add these two up, you have more than 9,061. You've got 9,155. So, okay, so we see here not very subtle. He's hunting for a knight. Knight would be nice. Knight would look nice on this square. And again, it's not very subtle. He just wants to put a pawn here and another pawn here, or a pawn here. Choices, choices. Do you put a pawn here or here? The problem with pawn here is black maybe just castles and says bye bye. But the problem with pawn here is maybe you could take twice, maybe. So instead, Jan goes with I want a knight to take this and put a knight here, and of course that cannot be tolerated. So what do you do? Well, I would take this and put a pawn here. Okay, it comes to the same thing, and the reason for that is if black does do this, you've got bishop at d6 at the end of it, and black is dead. So he's defending valiantly, but it's all gone. d6 pawn, yeah, I'll say this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you should not play c5 as black in the French defense. Of course, if Oppa goes on to win this game, then yeah. Ouch. How? How is he doing this? He was even close to mate there. With only a pawn and bishop in hand, maybe didn't quite have anything. Yeah. So, okay, Jan is pulling the trigger, and he has enough. He has he needs another knight. Knight here would be mate. Oh, he had a rook, right? He had a rook in the final position, I guess. Just to double check. Yeah, he had a rook, so rook here is simple. Okay, Oppa playing some weird stuff as white. So black is taking the advantage of grabbing the space advantage. Notice he's got the open bishops, so it's very strong. So this is just already a one position basically for black. Last one is saying bishop at f3 already strong. Already looks decent. Bishop at f3 takes, knight here. Yeah. Notice that also the d file is open for the queen, so d3 is also real weakness. And black doesn't really want to trade though. You know, black has a space advantage. If you're black here, you just develop. Use your space advantage. So yeah, I like this. Just back off. There's no need. So bishop f3 looks nice, but there's also no need for this. It's, your position is nice. Now, having said that, how do I defend this pawn? Okay, Oppa's starting to come out of his shell. The real Gnedges, hi. Bishop h5, this looks super bad for white. Yes. Yeah. I think Oppa's just playing around with the openings. Spread the Joy says, I have to believe Justin is tired. It's almost 2 AM in Sydney. Yeah, this bishop is coming alive. Oppa does have lots of pieces around his king. But it's hard to develop. Like, with no pieces in hand, who benefits in this position? Of course, black does, because black's got this outpost in white's half of the board, this huge space, and this outpost gives gives black a huge space advantage. So, okay, putting pressure on the defender of the outpost. Just backs off. If it ever takes, we take back and get an open rook file. So can he put pressure on this outpost in another way? And you can't really push this, because otherwise this will be weak. So yeah, these two squares are... okay, simply castles. Takes, takes, still secure. Takes, takes, bishop here. It's an idea, but it involves sacking heavily. Looks like Oppa's going for it though. Takes, takes, bishop here. I mean, it is vaguely annoying. Knight here, maybe, to try and force the issue. You don't really want bishop back on e8, particularly because white will just sit with his bishop here and not do anything. That also makes sense. So, I guess, okay, so the problem with this move actually is this, this, and this, but it's not a problem. Yeah, it is a problem, actually. You see, the knight is defending this square, so this, this, and this, and what do you do? Oh, okay, this doesn't work because this, and this, you just take the bishop. So that was the problem. So that's why he's defended the bishop. Defended the bishop, so then he can do this bishop takes knight and get in on the back rank. And why does he want that? Because he knows he's got a rook coming, and the only use for a rook is if he can make something on the back rank. The problem is whenever he takes the knight, this comes and the queen takes bishop, so it's not clear. Okay, hang on. Whoa, what's going on here? Just get slightly confused. This, he wants to defend the bishop. Okay. Takes, takes. He wants to go at g6 with the pawn. Okay, so he goes with the knight instead. Defends with the bishop. Okay, fine. But now he can go bishop takes knight, right? Bishop takes knight and pawn here and bishop takes rook. And rook on the back rank. But rook on the back rank. So he has what he wants. So suddenly he has what he wants, except black had ideas too after a huge, massive trade, so he wants to sort of defend first. And an obvious way of defending would have been rook g1, but it looks like he's trying to defend with some kind of tempo by doing this. Okay, we're going to see this. We're seeing it in all the wrong order. I'm sure bishop... oh, I see, it didn't work. It didn't work, you see, because knight here was really smart defending that knight. So, I don't know, maybe he should have pulled the trigger earlier with bishop takes knight and just allowed knight takes g2. That's what I feel. Because now I feel black is back in control. Again, black is the only one with the piece in white's half of the board. Black is in control. Yeah, Jan might only have 16 seconds on the clock, but he's just pummeling his position. Takes. Oh, is white to move. How to defend? It's just that these dark squares can't be defended, can they? Don't see a defense. You could just go takes, takes, and replace another pawn here. Keep on pummeling. Takes, 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 takes. Ah, he got a pawn though, which is annoying. Okay, you have to hit that knight. Maybe use the bishop. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not sure if he's got enough for that, but okay. He wants knight takes pawn. He's really building chains into this position. Okay, knight here, simple. So pick up a rook, and then go pawn on the... Okay, is there some danger here? He's walked into mate. Bishop here, knight here is mate. Bishop here, knight here is mate. Jan walked into mate. Wow. That was... Yeah, so he had to be... At this point, yeah. White had actually... Yeah, that was a mistake. So how to attack? Attacking accurately is actually hard as well as defending accurately. Knight at h5 was the move. Knight h5, king f2, at g3, king e2, at f3, king takes f3, knight at e5, steps back. You only got one pawn left, and you have to attack with these two pawns. King e1, bishop h4 is a nice idea, is a discovery idea. What you can do is run, g2, and run. So that would have been a way for Jan to attack as black. But going back all the way here, I felt like this was... I didn't... This... Yeah, this point here. This. Why not pull the trigger? So I'm going to find out why pulling the trigger was wrong. So pulling the trigger idea was take the knight, takes back, and then hit the queen. And I thought queen can't take here because knight would take here. And the problem with this is this, king f1. So we have a queen in hand, but apparently it's no use. Okay, so I thought this would be good because we have a queen in hand, but this just shows how I just don't understand the position at all. So yeah, this is just far too complicated. But then, so was white ever doing well? What did white ever have a nice move here? So here, bishop takes f6, bishop takes, knight takes f6, check, so g takes f6, then take here, so just trading everything basically. And you can't take with the queen because of knight at h6. Okay, so that would have been killing. King takes, rook at h7. Okay, so that was white's opportunity. Just take everything in this position. Or in this position, knight takes f5 was stronger apparently. Okay. But this was a mistake because of a move it was suggesting pawn at e2, which I don't get. But does pawn takes knight? Pawn at g6? Anyway, it's hard to assess. Knight at h6. It's hard to assess. That's it. That's it. So Oppa takes the series 10 games to 8. Obviously, in the final position, you could block, but bishop here, check comes, king here, and knight here is mate. So you mate with your pieces in hand. Okay. So enough Crazy House for today, or should we look at anti